aos amigos da Web Rádio Estação da Luz. 2022 está indo embora. É tempo de traçarmos as metas para o novo ano. A felicidade terrestre é relativa à posição de cada pessoa. O que devemos buscar para sermos felizes? Meta 1. Com relação à vida material, devemos ter a posse apenas do necessário. Meta 2. Com relação à vida moral, devemos ter a consciência tranquila e fé no futuro. Livro dos Espíritos, questão 922. Embora sejam metas simples, não são fáceis de serem alcançadas, não é mesmo? Nós, da Web Rádio Estação da Luz, desejamos que você se esforce para alcançar estas metas de felicidade material e moral. Não queremos que você tenha apenas um ano novo. Desejamos que você tenha um novo ano e busque se tornar um novo ser, confiante em um futuro melhor, praticante do amor que Jesus nos ensinou. Muita paz em 2023.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in this series of talks promoted by the United States Spiritist Federation every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Today, I am so very happy to be here and host our talk where REJANE will be talking to us about the mysteries of the universe. Before we turn it over to REJANE, I would like to take a moment for all of us together do this small opening prayer. I invite all of us to please close our eyes. Let's take this opportunity to open our hearts, our minds, to all the spirits of light who are here present with us, along with our benefactors, those who guide us during our entire journey on earth. May we all be blessed. May REJANE today receive the divine inspirations during this talk, and may all of us be touched by those words in our daily lives. So be it. REJANE, it is so nice meeting you today. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. It is really great to have you here to talk about the mysteries of the universe. I'm so curious and appreciate your enlightening all of us on this subject. But before REJANE, you begin this very important message, I would like to formally introduce you. REJANE is the co-founder and vice chair of the Association for Spiritist Studies Allan Kardec. REJANE has lived and worked in Austria since 1989. She is a writer, she is a poet, and she has contributed to many articles in Brazilian Spiritist magazines. Professionally, REJANE is an electrical and nuclear engineer. She has a master's degree in the nuclear engineering from Military Engineering Institute, IME, from Rio de Janeiro. I would like to remind everyone in the audience, please take a moment to send your questions. We will allow time to address those, your comments, your questions, once REJANE concludes her presentation. Thank you so much, and thank you, REJANE. Please go ahead and get started.
Good morning or good afternoon. We are in Austria. Here is about 5 p.m. I think you are at 11. It's a pleasure for me. I'm very glad to be with you, to communicate again in English. As I was telling Marcia, it was my working language for 30 years at the UN. At home, we speak German, and in the Spiritist Center, we speak Portuguese. With some friends, I speak Spanish. That means with others, Italian. It's quite difficult to turn on, turn off all those languages. And I apologize if I make some mistakes, but let's try to communicate. That is the best. Our main purpose today is to talk about those mysteries. There is a mistake in my there's a mistake in the first mysteries of universe with I. It's sorry. This should not happen. It's to talk a little bit about those mysteries of the universe, those questions that come to our minds, and sometimes they pass by, they don't stay longer, but they are with us. And somehow we come back and think, why are we here? Where all what we see comes from, and other deep questions that mankind has asked themselves along the millennia. In fact, our whole life is driven by this progressive and irrevocable flow of time. We don't stop, and time for us does stop. 30 years I've been in Austria, and it seems like yesterday. I arrived here in the middle of winter, dark, gray, whatever you can think about, like in New York, probably. November, December are months that everything is gray. There is few sun. And today we are in summer, very nice sunny day, but those years pass by so quickly, and I didn't perceive. And we also don't perceive this flow of time in our lives. Many people, because of this, of being caught in this cage of time, many people live in the cage. They are driven by tangible things in a very fragile reality, that people forget that this reality that we live is not the real life, is not the real world where we come from. It's just a time in the eternity. What is 70 years? What is 80 years? Nothing. But our society offers us so many pleasures, but not always provide for them. The media, the social networks contribute to form the social and cultural habits that prevent us to look to other life realities. Then what we do, the individual or the person thinks and reflects upon according to his own beliefs and notions of the physical reality that for him is the only possible reality. However, for since millennia, mankind is looking to unveil the mysteries of life. Where do we come from? Where am I going? What am I doing here? What is the purpose of my life? And many philosophers, thinkers have reflected upon those questions and have interrelated them with science. One of my goals is the way I see life, is this connection, this relationship between what I believe and between the world I see. And I cannot see the world without the point of view of science, as I cannot see the world with the point of view of my inner life, of my beliefs. And of course, one of my beliefs is in the immortality of the soul. The other is the reincarnation. The biggest belief is faith in God, and be sure that we are in a universe that is driven by a source, a force that we don't know what it is, that we name God. This force that writes for us what we call the divine laws, because they come from this force that we name God. This force drives our life, but it does command our life. Then one of the first mistakes that mankind has made is to think that God is looks like man. God, and this is the first question Kardec poses to the spirit: what is God? The second main important concept and thing that we need and that we look for a better understanding is the origin of life. Where do we come from? And in the origin of life, we can think in two ways: where we come from as people, as spirit, as soul, and what is the origin of the universe. And we will talk about the two things. The other is the spiritual life. How is this infected, this spiritual life? How is life in the other side of the world? The fourth, reincarnation, the cycle of life and death. If we don't face that we are here for a certain period, that we experience this reality, this life reality for a certain period only, and that we'll continue living in spirit as souls in another reality, then most of what happens around us will not make sense. And reincarnation gives the other step in this understanding. We come back. If we today fail, if we don't succeed in some of our experience, in some of those challenges that life imposed to us, we have an opportunity to learn again this lesson. Of course, not in a very pleasant way, probably, because mistakes will impose a reaction in this universe, like when we throw a stone in a pond, it makes some waves. So our mistakes or our failures to follow God's laws, God's divine laws in the universe, they have consequences, and we'll have to face those consequences. That means responsibility is within what we are. If we don't have responsibility for what we are, for what we do, then we will live in this cycle of life and death, reincarnation, many centuries or millenniums, and suffer and pain will be part of our lives. If we wanted to cut this chain, we need to progress. We need to evolve spiritually. And evolving means learning. Learning means learning the reality of this world and learning the laws of the universe. We need to know where we live, what we are, where we go, from where we come from, that we can understand the universe. And we need to learn and to act within the divine laws or the moral Christ laws, that we get in harmony with this universe. Then the sovereign laws of the universe are as well as important as we are, because if we don't follow them, we'll get disturbance, and we will disturb the universe, and we have consequences in our life from those disturbances. Kardec put that very easily, much nicer than what the way that I'm saying here in Spiritism, when he built this doctrine, these beautiful concepts that Spiritists bring us. Then for me, and I believe for you that are listening to me here, Spiritism answers the essential life's questions. Science tries to answer some of them. Philosophy tries to answer some of them. And Spiritism, by bringing philosophy, science, and the moral aspects of religion together, it brings a better understanding of life. Then we will focus here in basically two aspects of life, of all those questions. The first, what is God? As I've said before, God is not something that is not someone that is similar to the humankind. This was, I think, the mistake of religion. It's putting God in its anthropomorphic way, concept. For Kardec, for us, God is a force. It's a force that is the creator. Is this intelligence, sovereign, with sovereign wisdom and goodness. The creator of the primordial, the first elements that gave origin to life, or that give origin to life, because God creates always. So said Jesus, my Father works constantly, always. Then God creates what? According to Spiritism, God creates the intelligent principle and the material principle. Then we are talking here about what is the origin of life in two aspects: the origin of the universe and the origin of life, of us. Science talks about only one aspect. Science talks about the origin of the universe. When science looks at the origin of life, they get no answer. Because how to explain that suddenly someone who was alive, all its work, his bodily functions start dying, stopping, the cells die, and suddenly there is no life force. And how to explain that these two cells that combine themselves at the conception will generate a new life, a new human being, a new animal, or the seed will bring a flower. Those are mysteries that science explains somehow, but this life force is not explained by science, neither by none of the philosophy that we know in our days. Then God creates our universe and creates in these two the intelligent principle and the material principle. But before we go for that, I don't want to forget to mention that when we study Kardec, when we read Kardec, we need to think that Kardec lived in the 19th century. The codification was published between 1857 1868. At that time, the universe was conceived as an eternal and unchangeable universe. The universe was the Milky Way. In the 19th century, this was the universe. Now, look how different is the universe today in 2021. We have now a dynamic universe. There are stars that are being born, stars that are collapsing and dying. There are many galaxies. The whole observable universe is over 13 billion years old. I mean, look the difference. Then when we read Kardec, we need to think that the spirits that provided the answers to those mediums that Kardec could make the doctrine, could write the doctrine, they also have to adapt their knowledge, their wordings to their terminology to Kardec's time. Then much of the way that they talk about time, universe, life, is using those terminology. It's important because many people think, okay, Kardec is old. We are in the 24th century. Why should we listen to someone from the 19th century with such a language that we cannot understand today? That is not true. Kardec, the bulk of the doctrine, is as much true in the 19th century as it is today. And we'll see that when we compare Spiritism, the basic concepts of Spiritism with other doctrines, with Buddhism, with Hinduism, with other truths that we believe in this world. A truth repeats because it's a truth. If it's not true, it will disappear. I apologize. I have two screens here, and now I don't know where is my PowerPoint. Got it. Thank you. Then science at the 19th century was also marked by many new discoveries. When we talk about in the Genesis about the formation of the earth, we have to keep in mind that the principles of geology were discovered by Lyell in 1830. And Kardec wrote the Spiritist book in 1857. That the origin of the species by Darwin was published in 1859. That the table of elements came in 1869 after Kardec. That the laws of magnetism, and this is quite important, were written by Maxwell in 1873, and the electromagnetic waves came in only in 1887. Why we are talking about that? Because magnetism was already known between quotes in Kardec's time as the magnetism, what we call in Portuguese passes, giving the bioenergy, a biomagnetism. But electromagnetism was not really known. The electrical force, how they say, and the magnetic force were known. But the two, when they are perpendicular to each other, they form the electromagnetic force and waves. This was not known. And this is basic. Time and the space. At time of Kardec, time was not seen as a relative, because it was introduced as a relative by Einstein in 1905. like the concept of space-time together and space as a dynamic, space-time as a dynamic concept, let's say, it also came only with Einstein. In Kardec time, nevertheless, in the Genesis, written in 1868, we'll read there that time, in the chapter 6, time is the sequence of things. That means the spirits already try to bring that the concept that time really does exist, that time is perceived by us in this universe as the sequence of things. This is a concept quite actual. The other important concept, space is infinite. And the more in the same chapter, it's the spirit of Galileo. He says, we travel always at the same speed of light, when he gives an example of the universe. What I'm trying to convey here is that we can see the concept of the actual science, our current modern science from our 20th and 21st century, in what the spirits told Kardec in a veil, like say, but already telling us what to expect and giving means to understand the reality we live and the reality we think about as the spiritual reality. How science explains the creation of the universe. The theory today that explains the theory of the formation of the universe is the Big Bang theory. The Big Bang assumes that there was no time at that time. There was no time. There was a state of high density and temperature, an initial state of high density and temperature, and there was not in fact an explosion. It was such an intense density and temperature that it created an expansion, and this first second is unknown by science, because science cannot get in this first second of of our universe, because we observe the universe through light, to the electromagnetic sources, to waves. And at that time, there were protons, neutrons, electrons, but the photons were caught in those mix of particles, many particles, and light and we cannot observe. I was just reading today in the morning in the Scientific American that someone was researching. They suppose that if they observe the cosmic gravitational wave, they can infer, they can look at those first seconds of our universe, but at the moment we cannot. Then the Big Bang also say that light came only after this first second, and the atoms were created after 379,000 years. The first atoms were the hydrogen and helium. And this we can observe today in science through the cosmic background radiation discovered in 1964. Then now, what I want to call your attention is when you read the Genesis, mainly the chapter 6 and and followings, keep in your mind this theory and look at the Genesis, how Galileo Galilei explained time and space and the creation of the universe, and you see the similarity. Now, after 1.6 million years, we have the star and galaxy, and our whole universe was created. Now, what we know from the Spiritism, much more than that, because this explains only how matter was created. but we wanted to know how we are created. And the spirits told Kardec that God creates, what I already repeat here 3 times, the intelligent principle, look at that, and the material principle. From that intelligent principle that we can understand like a seed, we are created as spirit. Initially, we are a simple spirit. We have the seed of intelligence. We have the seed to discover ourselves and to learn. And through learning, we will grow, we will progress, and we will reach higher evolutionary levels. But how do we grow? We grow by knowledge, learning knowledge, and learning the universal laws, the moral laws. If we learn only in one way, if we learn only through our rational and intelligence, through the purely, we will not master the universe, because we will make mistakes. We'll be centered in the ego, and we will not overcome the ego and look at who are living with us, who in our environment. We will not take care of the beautiful Gaia, our earth, of the animals, of the plants, of our companions, the other women and persons in our life. But if we learn in the 2 ways, and this learning is never a straight line, is always a parable or a curve, then because we learn through experience, and through the experience what we do and how we feel, and also we learn through the experience of the others. That means by example. Much more difficult to learn in this way, I should say. And Kardec was didactic, very pedagogic. He was an educator. He was also rational. And then this is why he started dealing in the first chapters of the Spirit book with the essential questions of life. He clarified the general elements of the universe. And I remember when I was first studying, and when we study in our center here, the general elements of the universe, we spend days discussing what is the intelligent principle, what is the material principle, what is this universal cosmic fluid that the spirits say that permeates everything in the universe, and that is necessary that we as spirits manifest in the material as a body. Because our perispirit, that this is the link between the spirit we are and the body we build to experience life in earth, is made of the universal cosmic fluid, specific from the world we live. Then I would say, for example, in earth, we that live incarnated in this earth, we have a perispirit or a astral corp body. Depend on the terminology you want to use. In spiritism, we use perispirit, that belongs to this psychosphere, from this earthly fluid. However, if someone would live in Jupiter, the cosmic fluid in Jupiter may be different. I'm not saying that is different. I'm saying that may be different, because Jupiter for sure has other life conditions different from Earth. However, the same human beings preserve their form through their perispirit when they incarnate in different worlds, in different dimensions of life. Don't forget that we Earth is not our only planetary house. We have other planetary houses that we don't know where they are. Other dimensions of life in the spiritual and in the earth. And then we also see what is the life around our earth. When our body died and when we pass to the reality of the spiritual life, what we'll get will be still in this psychosphere of the earth, and we will have in our perispirit the same cosmic fluid, a little less dense, because when it is connected, linked to our body, it has more of those maybe atoms or matter or that belongs to here, a little bit less, but still will bring with us what we are here in emotions, in psyche, and some stuff that we bring with us. Then the beautiful of this philosophy, religion, science that is the Spiritism is that it unveils for us that we are an intelligent principle of the universe. I, Spirit, Rejane, I'm here, Rejane, one living this life, but I'm not Rejane. I'm much more than that. As each of you are also much more than the name and the person that you are in this life. We are a collection of all experience that we have lived. We are a collection, the collection, let's say, or we have the luggage, in another way of saying, of all we have lived. And this is stored as memory in the spirit, or in one of those bodies that makes the perispirit, that links our essence as a spirit with our body. And for me, this is the astonishing and most beautiful discovery as a human being, that we are an intelligent principle. It means that if today my intelligence cannot go much further, maybe in the next life, I have added a little bit to this life, and I will go further. And if today I cannot be the good or the best or the angel that I would like to be, with time I will progress, and I one day achieve that stage, because this is what the spirits and this promise us, and this is what Jesus promised us. Through evolution, we'll get there. The evolution and the sense that we are all linked, that together, from the most primitive atom to the archangel, who incidentally also began existed as an atom, is said also by the spirits when they answer question 540 in the Spirits book. That means it's not science that is saying that we are connected. It's not something that is hocus pocus or esoteric. It's a truth. And we can perceive that. We can see this influence around us. And today, science is almost there to prove that. Or I would say almost there, because they always think that it's missing a point. But when we think that the cosmic gravitational wave exist, and they think they will be able to prove, and this cosmic gravitational wave is of such a high energy that they think they will need equipment not as big as the LIGO in America. The LIGO is one of those apparatus that help the astrologists to, in cosmology, to measure and to observe the stars and the universe. That means we understand that we are getting science there, or we are approaching science and the spiritism. The other, in evolution, there is one sentence that we read and people say that's from Leon Denis, and I repeat here 3 times because it's not only from Leon Denis. It's one of those wisdom that comes from long time ago. This sentence teaches us quite a lot. It says that we evolve from, in this earth, from the mineral to the vegetal to the animals, till we come to the consciousness of the humankind. And I translated, and pardon for my poor translation, I translated Leon Denis. The others I could get in English. Leon Denis said the intelligence is nooses in the plants, it dreams in the animals, it awakes and knows itself and becomes conscious in man. But this was said by Pythagoras much before. Pythagoras said the consciousness sleeps in the stones, dreams in the plant, awakes in the animal, and slowly becomes aware of itself in man. And in the end of the 18th century, Friedrich von Schelling, an European, I think he was a German, he said, mind sleeps in the stone, dreams in the plant, awakes in the animal, and becomes conscious in man. Why am I'm saying that? When I'm marking this sentence, because it tells us about our evolution. It's an arrogance for men, or for the human being, to think that we have been always in this form. We have evolved since this intelligent seed till now. And to evolve, we need to learn from the beginning, like starting in the kindergarten, or like a baby is crawling, is starting its first sentence by bubbling. Like that, we start bubbling or crowding in the universe. But this evolution is being proved, or is being researched by science, and science is getting some very interesting results. This, for instance, in Tel Aviv University, this study is from 2016. They just a moment. I have a visitor, I guess, but okay. Oh, I'm getting from my neighbor nice, very nice apricots. You don't know how nice it is. But let's back here. Apologize to you. Then what in Tel Aviv University in 2006 they did? They looked at the behavior of tomatoes plant and at tomato and sorry, I forgot the other. Apologize. Coffee, tobacco. Sorry, tobacco plants and tomatoes. What they did, they measure with electromagnetic waves. They measure the sound of the plants. They try to measure that, and they also try to measure how they experience the different changes in their environment. And what they wrote in this paper, and what they prove, is that plants that suffer stress, they show altered phenotypes. That means they change color, they change the smell, they change shapes, and more. And this we know because stress can be lack of water, stress can be lack of sun, and we know that the tomato will not grow, that the plant will die, but that they also emit airborne sounds that can be recorded remotely. It was not yet proven, and they did this research in the Tel Aviv University. If you want, I can send later on all these references. But let's now see what the Spiritism says. Through the medium Francisco Cândido Xavier, the spirit André Luiz wrote in this book, In the Greater World, he wrote the following: the embryonic consciousness existing in the rock that rolls along with the river is involved in a process of emergence. What means? That in the rock there is an emergence consciousness. There is something that will be developed. The trees develop memory. He says in a very poetic, I don't need a thing to read, you can probably read there. And in the animal, and he compared the tigress licking her new body. That means a lion or a tiger licking her newborn offspring is learning the rudiments of love, as well as the ape develops the speech. Then you see how we are evolving, and how we need to consider the other living beings in our planet as our companions in our life. How can we explain life if we don't respect them? If we don't be also responsible for those who cannot communicate well with us? It's part of our learning in this planet as a spirit is to respect, is to tolerate, is to see the others as part of our reality in this life. And the other mystery, I think I've taken already 45 minutes, and it's a little bit too long. But the other mystery is consciousness. And I would like here to remind that Kardec also questioned the spirit, where is God's law written? And they say, in the conscience. Why? Because by learning the laws of the universe, we are increasing our consciousness. However, the word consciousness is used with different meanings. When you read in science, consciousness can be also read as a spirit, a soul, because consciousness for science is the essence we are. I would like to talk only 5 minutes. It will be very, very short, but to understand this consciousness that we are, the spirit, there are some very well-known scientists have tried to look for how this consciousness appear, manifest. And the Penrose, Sir Roger Penrose, who got the Nobel Prize, I think in 2020 or 2019, together with Hameroff. Stuart Hameroff is a doctor, medical doctor, surgeon. They wrote a theory, many articles, and one of the theories that they wrote is that consciousness manifests through biological quantum process. But the first approach they had, it was quite materialist. But then when they already in 2014-16, they expand their approach, and I had the big pleasure, I would say, in my life to meet Hameroff already 4 years ago. more than 4 years ago, 2016, and we were in the same hotel, in the same conference, and we had good chats. And he's not materialist. At least I couldn't see that. He was quite a deep and one of the most intelligent person I've met. And they also say that there is a consciousness that could be deeply related to the operation of universal laws. That means they are intrinsic. They have intrinsic role in the universe. What they are trying to say? They are trying to say that the universe, in their language, that the universe manifests because of the creator, because of this biggest consciousness that is the creator, or this force that is the creator, that living in our universe, it's marked through the cosmic fluid, universal fluid, through the spirit that is in the universe. When the spirits tell Kardec that God makes the intelligent principle and the material principle, they separate, but the things are linked. They are together. One is needed to manifest the other. But for our understanding, that is, we have this lack of understanding through our evolutionary level now, they have to separate, to analyze in pieces. There is another scientist, Matlov, there's much more recent, that also researching in another look in his a physicist and a professor of physics and astronomy at the New York City College of Technology, just near where some of you are. And he made a beautiful research. I will not go much further on that because I think I'm taking too much time, but who wants can talk to me and I send the paper and I can discuss with. In his research, he looked at the stars, and because of the Casimir effect, that is a basic feature in the quantum mechanics, he came to a conclusion that there is the existence of a consciousness field in the universe, what they call a universal proto-consciousness. This is very important. I think this is a breakthrough in science. Of course, the mainstream science does want to see that, but there are others. A part of Penrose, Matlov, I could mention others researchers that goes to this what they call panpsychism, but it's not panpsychism. It can be seen also as the spirit, as we understand in the Spiritism. But another would be D.K. Berry. Also in 2016, he published a paper where he analyzed the similarity between biological cellular structures and simulated the structure in neutron stars. What I believe and what I think those scientists and what the spirits are also trying to tell us is that we are linked with the universe. We are networking together. The universe we exist because the universe exists, and the universe exists, and we are within the universe. Then when we remember how the Buddhism and the Hinduism also think about this unite, or the oneness of the universe, they say that we are one with the universe, or we can achieve this state of one of the universe. In Spiritism, we would say we can achieve our plenitude. We will be angels, archangels, or higher spirits. And with that, I could go on a little bit more, but I think with that, we finish. Leaving for you to think how beautiful is our life in this universe. When you at night or in the morning, when you can look at the the sky and you see the stars, remember that there are many words up there. We are just one word here. We can live here now, and we can live in other universes, in other dimensions of life. But in any life that we will live, we will need to follow the moral laws of the universe. And the biggest law is love. Without love, we don't live. Thank you. I'm not listening.
Hi, sorry for that. My microphone was on mute. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Rejane. And let's see if we have any questions.
Again, I'm not listening.
So the first question, can you hear me? I'm not sure if I am having technical difficulties or well, Yasko said, hi, Rejane, thanks for the great information. Jesus, 2,000 years ago, only could leave the notion of a fatherly God in replacement of a punishing God, still an anthropomorphic entity. With the significant progress in science, from micro to macro cosmos, especially in the last 2 centuries, I'm wondering whether one of the things Jesus said the people of this time could understand, but would be revealed later, wouldn't be the notion of a non-anthropomorphic God. So what is the impact this new concept would make to attract back people to God, to religiosity, and to spirituality?
Marcia, I think I lost most of what you talked. What is the question? Is the first one that is here in the chat? I cannot.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
How to better understand Kardec when we use so many different words? Yeah. Okay. Look, Kardec talks about fluid. The concept of fluid at Kardec's time was different than the concept of fluid we have today. When we talk about fluid in science today, we think about plasma. When we talk about energy in Kardec's time, we think more about the energy as something that produces work. Today, when we talk about energy, we talk about the concept of fields of energy. That's quite different than what Kardec said. There are people in spiritism and physicists that they believe that using the word fluid is okay, and we understand the fluid as a plasma, and they follow like the Kardec. I prefer to use the term to place fluid as fields with the concept of field, because fluid, it brings the idea of gas, of water, and it's not what really they wanted to tell us. That means when they talk about the cosmic fluid, we are talking about a bigger field. We can say energy field, but many energies, because in the cosmic fluid we had all types of particles, of energies there. We have the electromagnetic force, we have the forces that combine the atoms, the weak force, the strong force. We'll have the bosons and all these stellar sources. I mean, when we look at the Kardec, try to look at, if we are a sign, if we are from the science, from the STEM, look at fields, I would say. For me, would represent better. Energy is another concept, because energy is particular for each type of energy, but it's still an energy. We say here that we give bioenergy. What can we do? But what we are giving, which energy is that? We don't know. Or we know.
Thank you, Rejane. Can you clarify what is the significance for spiritists and non-spiritists that current scientific models found today were found much earlier in Kardec?
I'm not sure if I understood correctly the question, but for us spiritists, I think Kardec brings us the knowledge that was hidden. He unveils some mysteries. For the non-spiritisms, I would say for someone that does believe in God, it's quite difficult to explain spiritism. But however, when we explain the moral part of spiritism, I think everyone will agree. Look at the current scientific models and link them to spiritism. For me, is a way to convey a message to those who don't believe, or who believe is not really the word, because when you know, you are beyond belief. You incorporate this knowledge within yourself. And when we say believe is something that you believe today, maybe tomorrow you will not believe. The goal to bring the scientific theories, models linked with the concepts and the knowledge that spiritists brought us is to understand better that our science is progressing, but those spirits have already had more knowledge that we have now. 150 years ago, they already knew about time and space. They didn't say it, but they knew it. 150 years ago, they knew about the spirit. They knew about this proto, how they call here, proto-consciousness of the universe. They don't call proto-consciousness of the universe. And our science does want to go beyond the material, no? That is another problem. But I think this is the main purpose of linking both.
Yes, absolutely. So Daniel, hi Daniel, said, what is your thoughts about those who believe that when we die, we'll go back to the source and become the combined forces and intelligence of the universe?
I think what maybe I'm not sure what I said, don't remember, but when today we know the spirits in this earth who are incarnating the earth, we are all imperfect spirits. We are not such evolved spirits. Maybe 10%, with good guess, 10% of the souls incarnated in earth will be good spirits. Those that master the goodness and can live without making many unsuccessful experience. When we die, when we leave this body, we will have to deal with what we are. I don't think that we are going immediate to the stars. I think we will stay in this psychosphere of the earth, because we have in our perispirit much of this psychosphere. If we are a very high evolved spirit, if one of us, maybe some one of us is, they can choose, like the spirit says that Dr. Bezerra de Menezes and Madre Teresa of Calcutta, or Gandhi, those who have already shown in this life that they are evolved spirits, more evolved spirits, maybe those they can choose. And they say, no, I don't want to stay here in this psychosphere of the earth. I go beyond that. And then they go beyond to the level they belong to. but not beyond what they can. Don't forget that the stairs of the evolution are infinite. The stars are other things. The stairs of the evolution are infinite. We are at the beginning of them. We are just stepping the first step at the first steps of our evolution. Someone that is more advanced, like Jesus, is in the stars. And by the way, when those scientists talk about this, that they think that around those big stars, those peculiar stars in the universe, there is this proto-consciousness. I remember that Jesus and the high spirits, they convene for a meeting in the sun to decide as the spirits talk to, I think, mentioned to Chico Xavier, I believe. I think, yes. Divaldo mentioned this in one of his lectures, and now it's not in my memory in who got that through, who is the medium who got this message. But Divaldo says that before Kardec reincarnating in Earth, there was a meeting of, before Jesus came to Earth, there was a meeting in the sun to decide the destiny of Earth. If those high spirits meet in the sun, there is a consciousness, higher consciousness there.
Yes, yes. I can't wait until we have all of that scientific thoughts come to us. Right?
I don't want to bother anyone with my
It's awesome
way of thinking.
Yes, don't worry. So Louise mentioned, thank you, Louise, for your question. I totally agree with your view of mapping the old meaning of fluid with a current meaning or field. What would be your interpretation or mapping of the word vibration in the spiritist context? Great question.
Yeah, a good question. We understand vibration as frequency, in science. Still, we wanted to understand vibration as frequency. But frequency can tell us about electromagnetic frequency. Usually, we use frequency for that. But we can also use vibration for sounds. Vibration is sound waves. That means when the spirits talk about vibration, we need to look carefully, because electromagnetism is frequency. Sound waves have frequency also, we can say that, but we need to look carefully about that. We will need a study about the different vibrations. What is the vibration of a spirit, of a soul? The soul manifests with its perispirit. The perispirit has luminosity. Luminosity would be electromagnetism, frequency, light frequency. But it has also expansibility. That means this is another frequency, is another vibration. We need to be careful. Yeah, I think when we compare science with spirit, we need to be careful, and we will need to map really how the colleague here said the word vibration and understand. But I would ask you, do we understand what is the perispirit? We have a lot of theories, but there is no really scientific study of the perispirit. We study the perispirit through what we know from the spirits, from the communication of the spirits, and from observation of mediums observation. Carefully. And if I use sometimes the word frequency, I may make mistakes. Vibration is what I think the spirits use in the codification, but we need to analyze.
Very good. I would even say, Rejane, that all of us, as we, you're in Austria, so you started this talk with different languages, right? And maybe we need to define what I mean by that, blah, 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 right? Very, very
Yeah,
good. Thank you. So we
yeah.
have another question there. Thank you, Louise. Louise mentioned the other Louise. Do you believe that the academia will eventually embrace the existence of the spirit in the framework of mainstream science? Would you guess when?
That is a dream, no? But I believe. Look, I'm a member of the Society for Scientific Exploration since 1992. I believe that the SSE, the Society for Scientific Exploration, that has the biggest minds of our time. Members of the society are Hameroff, Penrose, Sheldrake, so many that Stevenson, Tucker, all of them are there, and many more that I don't remember. They don't represent the academia. They don't represent the mainstream science. Mainstream science is very conservative. And who make the mainstream science? If you read Scientific American and Nature, you see that who make the mainstream science of our time is money, is who pays. And this discussion is very much in the academia, or I would say in the journals and the newspapers that convey the thinking of the researchers and the scientists. It's not the mainstream science, but we are going there. One of good source of new knowledge and those who are breaking the ceiling of science is the society. In the 90s, there were this famous project in US, the STAR project. Everyone who is interested in paranormal or anomalous phenomena knows about it, the Stargate project. And who was where one of the labs of the Stargate project was in Princeton, the Princeton University. Princeton University makes the mainstream science. This lab, after 30 years, was closed because the main founders of the lab retired. Means are questions that we can just give our opinions and try and continue fighting that the mainstream science changes, that we break the ceiling, like we women are breaking the ceiling since the 19th century. Point for us.
Awesome. Thank you. I think we have another question, and we started with this one earlier. It's cut off, but let's read it, and then I'll ask the question. So Yasko, hi Yasko. She says hi Rejane, and thanks for the great information. So for context, Jesus 2,000 years ago only could leave the notion of a fatherly God and replace it from that notion of a punishing God, but they're both still anthropomorphic entities. With a significant progress in science from micro to macrocosmos, especially in the past 2 centuries, I'm wondering whether one of the things Jesus said to the people of this time couldn't understand, but it would be revealed later, which is the notion of non-anthropomorphic God. So the question is, what impact this new concept would make to attract back some people to God, to religiosity, and to spirituality? That non-anthropomorphic God.
I don't believe that this is a new concept.
Okay.
First, I don't believe that. Many philosophers of before Kardec already tried to put this the concept of God, non-anthropomorphic God. There is, of course, in society and in humankind this concept because we inherited those from so many centuries, millennia. The Greek already had the anthropomorphic gods. We start as humankind in the earth, or living in the first primitive people in this earth, didn't understanding what was going on in their surroundings, already had fears of the rain, of all the forces of the nature. That means the anthropomorphic God is an evolutionary path in the humankind. But I don't believe that is a new concept. The non-anthropomorphic concept is a new concept. It's 150 years old, or much older than that. What is needed is education and thinking, rational thinking. How can God be like me? That is totally out of order, out of mind. How can God, if he's God, how can have a hate? Then it's not God. For the definition, I mean, there is a inconsistency in the God of the Jewish and the God of the first Christ, or the God of the old religions. Mainly the Christian and Muslims have these anthropomorphic gods, because the Greek are now most Christians, now Orthodox Christians. But it does fit. For me, it simple does fit. It's easy to explain for anyone that does believe in God. And even I was discussing with very young people last Sunday, and one of them said, I don't believe in God. And I said, why don't believe? And his argument was exactly that, because I cannot believe in an anthropomorphic God. And I said, oh, then we can discuss. I also don't believe in this God. I wrote I'm sorry, not being arrogant, but the International Spiritist Council published the review, the Spirit Review, again published the Spirit Review. The first new issue, I published an article called Mine, Yours, Our God. Everything I think about God is there. Much better than I could hear explain in 2 minutes. If you want, is Yasko Arakawa, I can send you. It's also available at the internet, in the International Spiritist Council website.
This is great. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are approaching the end. I don't know that we have another question. So I just want to say, everyone, thank you. Thank you for being here. It's so great. It's so enlightening. And I love your call for action to see God again through science. I love when you said, let's look at the sky. Let's look at all the possibilities that we have at our hands. So in any case, Rejane, we want to thank you for being here today, for your time, for your generosity of putting your ideas together, and providing us with so many food for thoughts that we find with Kardec, but also with science. Thanks, everyone. Thanks all of those who were able to watch this live talk. For all of you who have been following our weekly talks. And please note, we resume our talk next Saturday, July 24th at 11 a.m. Eastern. At that time, Andrea Marshall Nato will be speaking about spiritual responsibility. But Rejane, before we close, I would ask you to do us a favor. Can you please say a prayer?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Apologize if sometimes I got mixed up with the language. Being at home during this pandemic is not easy. Let's close our eyes and go within ourselves, trying to connect over the distance and thinking of this Creator force of the universe, Lord of the universe and of all of us, to inspire and guide our journey in this life and our journey in all the lives that will come. Beloved Jesus, our friend, our Master, be with us and have mercy to the earth. Send your light, the love to all the souls and the beings, alleviating suffering, helping those who are sick in the hospitals or at home, who don't have a hand to hold. Be with them, Jesus, and be with us. Blessing our families, our companions, our friends, and the whole world.